Good morning. I hope you all have studied the previous lecture. As you all know, we have been doing chapter 6, that is retirement or death of a partner, from past 15 to 20 days, I think. And the last sum that we've learned was illustration 25, and the homework was the last sum of exercise. The sum was about death of a partner. We have also learned the concept of retirement before the concept of death of a partner. So in today's lecture, we'll have overall idea about the chapter that we have been doing so far. We are going to finish this chapter today. So let us quickly revise whatever we have done till date in all the lectures. Yes, firstly, we have learned chapter 3 from part 1, that is goodwill. Of course, then chapter 4, which is reconstruction of partnership. Reconstruction of partnership taught us the concept of sacrificing ratio and gaining ratio. Also, the concept of revaluation of assets and liabilities, of course. Yes. Then we've started with chapter 5, which was admission of a partner. And then we have started with chapter 6, the ongoing chapter, that is retirement or death of a partner. Okay. So in the very first lecture that I have presented regarding 6th chapter, we had an introduction in the very first lecture, yes, about this chapter, that what is its weightage. So weightage, as you know, is of total 9 marks. I've clearly mentioned this in the very first video lecture of this chapter. So there will be an MCQ of 1 mark. Also a long question which is of 8 marks. Yeah. So we have been doing long sums from past few lectures. I think more than 15 lectures we have given to the long sums, and I hope you all are clear with its concept now. As in we are revising this chapter, let me instruct you. First of all, you need to study the very first video lecture of chapter 6, the theory lecture, in which we have understood the concept of retirement, the theory, I mean, the introduction of the chapter, yes, and also we have learned about the steps for solving a long sum. What are the steps for solving a long sum? It is clearly mentioned in the second video lecture of this chapter, or maybe first. In short, first lecture and the second lecture of this chapter consists of every concept of theory and also the steps, important points, important notes for solving a long sum. So it is really important to study the theory lectures, the beginning 2 lectures thoroughly. Try to understand that, study it repeatedly, and only then you can deal with the long sums. Okay? You should follow the steps for solving a long sum that have been mentioned in the beginning lectures of this chapter. Yes? So let us talk about how the long sum is going to be. We have already discussed this, but just because this is the last lecture for this chapter, we are revising everything in short. So you will be provided with a question, a long question I am talking about, which is going to be of 8 marks in section E of your question paper. Yes, you will be provided with an old balance sheet and an adjustments below the balance sheet, and after adjustments you will be provided with the necessary information about what you are supposed to prepare, that whether you are supposed to write down the journal entries or not, which are the accounts that you are supposed to prepare. Yeah? So everything is instructed sorry, in case they have not mentioned what you are supposed to do, then in such a case you will prepare all the 4 ledger accounts, that is revaluation account, partner's capital account, or sometimes an additional current account, then cash and bank, finally balance sheet. Alright? But an important thing is that you will study the question carefully. First of all, they will be providing you with the information that these many are the partners, this is their old ratio, and if old ratio is not mentioned, you know very well that you have to consider it as equal ratio. Yes, if old ratio is not mentioned, then old ratio is to be considered equal, that is 1:1:1. Alright? Below that you will be provided with the balance sheet consisting of 2 sides, liabilities and assets. Below that they will write down, they'll provide an information like who is the partner retiring or who is the partner who meets death. Yes? So once you have studied the question, you will prepare necessary accounts. Then you will read who is the partner who retires or dies. So the very first thing that you will find out is gaining ratio. And what is the formula for finding out gain? It is new share minus old share. Old share is always given in the question. In case if it is not given, then it is to be taken as 1:1:1. And for new share, you will check all the adjustments, that if in any of the given adjustments they have given new share of the partners, and if it is not given, yes, then you will have to find it out in other way. Okay? Depends upon what information is given in the respective question. Fine? So then you will write down the opening balances of partners' capital, partner's current account and cash and bank. If you have prepared these accounts while solving a sum, then firstly you will write down the opening balances. And of course, the next step is solving all the adjustments. Yes? Adjustments are mostly of revaluation of assets and liabilities, and also about goodwill. Yes? So, revaluation of assets and liabilities. The new value is to be written in the balance sheet of respective assets and liabilities, and the amount of difference, the effect, is to be given in revaluation account. Yeah? Then, once you are done with all the adjustments, you will write down the remaining things to be, the items left to be recorded. You will check your old balance sheet. If there are any reserves and accumulated profits, you will transfer them in partners' capital accounts in their old ratio. And then, if there is anything still remaining to be recorded, then you will write it down as it is in the new balance sheet, the same value. Which items? The items which do not have any adjustments on it. Alright? Then the last step is to balance accounts. And finally, your balance sheet should tally. Yes? This is all about a long sum. This is how we solve a long sum. Yes? So, the steps, the detailed introduction, the necessary theory, everything has been included in the first 2 lectures, video lectures, in the very beginning of this chapter. Yeah? You should study them, and only then you can solve the long sums. Okay. So, we have studied 2 types of long sums in the previous lectures. The lectures that I have started after, once we were done with theory. So, in the beginning, if you remember, we have started with illustration 13 of your textbook, and we have been solving the similar sums from exercise, if I am not wrong. And I have instructed you that you are not supposed to solve the short sums. The reason being that short sums are about the concept of goodwill and how to obtain gaining ratio. So these things can be directly understood while solving a long sum. Those short sums, the one we have not done separately, are already included as a part of an adjustment in long sum, and we have understood it while solving a long sum together. So this is the reason that we have not done the short sums separately. Also, they are never asked separately in your exam. So, we have started with illustration 13, the very first illustration of this chapter, and we have had 2 lectures for each and every sum that we have solved till now, and you have been doing similar kind of sums from exercise. I hope you have been doing this. You are doing your homework on regular basis. This is expected. Yeah. So, retirement of a partner. As I said, we have understood 2 types of long sums. The sums that we have done in the very beginning are about retirement of a partner. There are 3 partners. One of them retires. You follow the necessary steps And at the end, what do? You find out the amount payable to the retiring partner. This is what you do, right, in the sums of retirement. Yes? And what do? You pay the amount in cash as per the instructions in question. And the second option is that you keep it as a loan. Now, how do you understand that whether you are supposed to pay in cash or you are supposed to keep it as a loan? Whenever in the given question it is clearly instructed that you are supposed to pay the amount in cash, yes, only then you will pay in cash. Otherwise, you will always keep it as a loan. That simply means that while balancing partners' capital accounts, the very first account that you balance is of a retiring partner. Generally, the amount of difference is closing capital, but that cannot be the case here. Why? Because the partner is retiring, is getting separated now. So that cannot be written as balance carried forward. No. Instead, you have to write it as a loan or to cash if you pay. And the second effect for loan is in the new balance sheet liabilities side. This was the only new thing compared to the long sums of chapter 5. Yeah, other than this, things remain constant. Fine then. So, illustration 13 was the first illustration we understood, then followed by illustration 14 with minor variations. Of course, illustration 15 then, and then we have understood illustration 22, if I'm not wrong, and also illustration 21. Yes, and thereafter I think we have understood the concept of death of a partner. Yes. So this is something new. Obviously we know the concept now. From past 4 lectures we have been doing sums and theory related to the death of a partner. As I said about retirement of a partner, on an average we have done 5 illustrations. Yes? 5 to 6 or maybe 4 to 5. And the sums of similar kind you have been doing in homework. Yes? So you must have developed a good habit of solving a long sum, I think. So the remaining sums, the one which are left to be solved, are to be done by you. You have to solve them on your own. You have to try that. Okay? But before that, you should study these lectures first. Only then you are going to do the remaining sums. Alright? Fine then. So talking about the death of a partner, I've started this concept few days ago. The very first lecture about death of a partner, the same chapter, chapter 6, was a theory lecture. In that I have mentioned all the points related to the death of a partner. That what are the changes taking place at the time of the death of a partner. how to deal with the amount payable to the deceased partner, to whom it is payable. Of course, not that person, because the person is not alive. Obviously, is to be paid to the heirs of the partner. The executor's account, executor's loan account. Yes, these are the things that we have understood in while solving the long sums of deceased partner, death of a partner. Yes? Before that, we have had a long idea, the theoretical idea, and also then we have understood about the specimen of deceased partner. I mean, deceased partner's capital account, which was nothing new. It was just similar to the partner's capital accounts that we have been preparing in the previous long sums. The only difference was that you were supposed to split that account. Earlier you were preparing 3 columns in partner's capital accounts. Now just you have to prepare a single column. Let it be deceased partner's capital account or executor's account. Yes, you have to credit the balances payable to deceased partner, and you have to debit the amount payable by deceased partner. And you will write off the losses, and you will credit general reserve, credit balance of profit and loss, the share of goodwill, etc., etc. Okay? So once we were done with the concept of theory, we understood illustration 24 in context with that. Illustration 24 was the very first sum related to the concept of death of a partner. The sum was quite simple. In that you were supposed to prepare only Z's you were supposed to find out the amount payable to Z's executor by preparing his capital. There were 3 partners. Yes? I hope you have your textbook with you. The illustration that we are talking about right now is on page number 254, and I think of course you remember this as you have studied the video lectures. Alright. So the sum was quite short. You were supposed to prepare the capital account of the deceased partner, I mean the partner who died. Yes, it was very simple. Simply speaking, it was just the capital account of the partner who died. You have prepared it in the similar way you prepare for retiring partner. The only difference is that the amount that you used to transfer to a partner's loan account in the case of retirement, instead of that you just wrote to executor's account. Alright. Then we have understood illustration 25. The last sum that we have completed in previous lecture, the last sum for the chapter, it was illustration 25. Illustration 25 again is about death of a partner. But an additional thing to this illustration was that you were also supposed to prepare executor's loan account. Not only executor's account, but also executor's loan account. Why? Because in that particular sum there was an additional adjustment which says that you are supposed to pay the loan in 2 equal installments with so and so rate of interest. In the previous sums there was no instruction about how do we pay the amount of loan even to the retiring partner, but this concept is given in illustration 25, which is about death of a partner. Yes? So we have understood how to prepare a loan account. Preparing loan account is not at all hard, but it is new, completely new. So you should watch that particular lecture on repeat mode whenever you get sufficient time to study. You need to watch it at least twice or maybe thrice for a clear understanding. Yes? So with illustration 25 and the last sum of your exercise being your homework, we completed this chapter. Yes? So overall lectures, the very first lecture was introduction. There is one lecture for introduction. Then I have explained the necessary concepts of theory in second lecture, and we had one lecture for theory, Then we have been doing sums of retirement of a partner. Overall there are 10 lectures for that, 5 sums. Each sum is of 2 lectures. As you know, these are long sums. It is not possible to finish them in one single lecture. Then about the concept of death of a partner, overall there are 4 lectures. The very first of this is theory lecture. Then it is about a short illustration, which was quite simple, of illustration 24. And then we had started with illustration 25, the third lecture of death of a partner. And the fourth and last lecture, the previous lecture to current lecture, we have finished illustration 25 about the executor's loan account. Yes? So, introduction and theory 2 lectures plus 10 lectures of sums of retirement is 12 lectures, and death of a partner 4 lectures. So overall this is 16 lectures. Yes? So perfectly 16 lectures you have to study. If you haven't paid proper attention, then you should watch it again from the very beginning for a proper understanding. Yeah? Maybe there might be 1 or 2 lectures more or less. Please see to it. But as far as I know, the proper understanding of the chapter is possible in this many lectures if you study them carefully. So here is a request that you will study all the video lectures thoroughly, and you will study them in order from the very beginning. And also you will try to solve the remaining sums and illustrations that I haven't taught you. You will make your own efforts to solve them, excluding short sums. You don't have to solve short sums, only long sums. So finally, we have completed chapter 6 successfully. Hope you all were regular in these lectures, and if not, then you are having these lectures on YouTube. You should watch them thoroughly. Please study properly, and you prepare your fair book with the daily homework in it. In all the lectures, the homework that has been given to you, you are supposed to do in your fair book with the order of lectures. Fine? So chapter 6 is completed, and we are going to start with chapter 7, the very next chapter to 6th chapter in part 1, that is dissolution of partnership firm. Yes? From next lecture we are going to start the new chapter, that is chapter 7. Fine. So we'll see you all in the next lecture. Till then, stay home and study well.